Hey buddies, welcome back to Echoes of Time. Tonight, we explore one of the greatest mysteries ever told. A story whispered through centuries, debated by scholars, and chased by explorers. A tale of a magnificent city that vanished into the sea. This is the story of Atlantis. Was Atlantis a real place, lost beneath the waves? Or was it simply a parable, a story invented to warn us about pride and power? For more than 2,000 years, humanity has searched for the answer. And tonight, we will dive deep into myth, history, and science to uncover the truth. The legend of Atlantis begins with one man, Plato, the Greek philosopher. Around 360 BCE, Plato wrote two dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. In them, he describes a mighty island nation that lay beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. Plato's Atlantis was vast, larger than Libya and Asia combined. Its lands were fertile, filled with rich soil, elephants, and forests. Its people were advanced in engineering, building grand temples and canals. Their navy was unmatched, with fleets said to dominate the seas. But this power was not eternal. According to Plato, the Atlanteans grew greedy and corrupt. They sought to expand their empire and attempted to conquer Athens. The gods, angered by their arrogance, punished them. In a single day and night of earthquakes and floods, Atlantis sank beneath the ocean and was lost forever. And that, buddies, is it. That is the source of everything we know about Atlantis. No Egyptian texts mention it. No Mesopotamian tablets record it. No other Greek historian speaks of it. Atlantis begins and ends with Plato. Is it an allegory or history? Why did Plato tell this story? Plato was not a historian. He was a philosopher. His dialogues were not meant to record events, but to explore ideas. In Timaeus and Critias, Atlantis serves as a moral contrast. Athens represents wisdom, discipline, and justice. Atlantis represents excess, greed, and corruption. It is a cautionary tale, showing how arrogance can bring down even the mightiest of empires. Most scholars believe Plato invented Atlantis to serve this purpose. But here's the puzzle. Plato described Atlantis in remarkable detail. He gave measurements, geography, and a timeline, saying the disaster happened 9,000 years before his own time. That number, if literal, would place Atlantis around 11,600 years ago, at the end of the last ice age. Was Plato preserving fragments of real history? Or did he simply dress his story with realism to make it more persuasive? This is where the mystery begins. Let us talk about echoes of real catastrophes. History gives us many examples of real disasters that could have inspired Plato's tale. One possibility is the volcanic eruption of Thera, also known as Santorini, around 1600 BCE. This eruption was one of the most violent in human history. It devastated the island, triggered tsunamis, and crippled the advanced Minoan civilization. Cities vanished almost overnight. For people living in Greece, this catastrophe would have been legendary. Could this be the seed of Atlantis? Another candidate is Helike, a Greek city destroyed in 373 BCE. An earthquake followed by a tsunami swallowed Helike, leaving it under the sea. Plato would have known of this disaster. Atlantis may have been an expanded version of Helike's fate. There are also theories linking Atlantis to southern Spain. Near Cadiz, archaeologists have found traces of ancient settlements and concentric ring-like structures in marshlands. These resemble Plato's description of Atlantis with its circular canals and central island. Perhaps Atlantis was not an empire, but a local Bronze Age city that was later romanticized into myth. But Plato's story does not stand alone. Around the world, cultures tell stories of floods and sunken lands. In Mesopotamia, the Epic of Gilgamesh speaks of a great flood that wiped out humanity. In the Bible, Noah's Ark tells a similar tale. In India, ancient texts describe Dwarka, a city said to have been swallowed by the sea. In Native American traditions, entire tribes speak of great floods that reshaped the land. Even in Asia, myths recall kingdoms drowned beneath rising waters. Could all these stories be connected? Science tells us that around 12,000 years ago, at the end of the Ice Age, glaciers melted. Sea levels rose by more than 100 meters. Entire coastlines disappeared beneath the ocean. Villages, towns, and perhaps even early cities would have been lost. Atlantis may not be a single city, but a memory shared by humanity, the memory of lands swallowed by the sea. Modern geology supports the science of a lost land. We know that Doggerland, a stretch of land connecting Britain to Europe, was once home to prehistoric people. It now lies under the North Sea. We know that parts of Southeast Asia were once dry land, forming a region called Sunderland. It too was flooded when the seas rose. If people lived in these lands, and they did, their stories of sudden destruction would have been passed down through generations. Atlantis may be one version of those stories, a myth born of real, devastating change. Beyond history and myth, explorers have searched the oceans for physical remains of Atlantis. Off the coast of Japan lies the Yonaguni Monument, a massive underwater rock formation. Some believe it was carved by humans thousands of years ago. Others argue it is natural, but its stepped terraces and sharp angles ignite the imagination. In the Bahamas, there is the Bimini Road, a series of stone blocks underwater. Supporters say it is the foundation of an ancient structure. Skeptics say it is simply beach rock fractured by natural forces. Some even claim Atlantis lies under Antarctica, buried beneath miles of ice. They argue that maps like the Peary Race map hint at ancient knowledge of the continent. But geology shows Antarctica has been ice-covered for millions of years, long before humans could have built cities there. The truth is, none of these sites provide solid evidence of Atlantis. They may be intriguing, but they do not prove the legend. Then there are the more radical theories. Some claim Atlantis was not human at all, that it was an alien colony with advanced technology. Others speak of crystal energy, lost machines, or civilizations that could fly. These theories are entertaining, but they lack evidence. Science demands proof, and so far there is none. So where does that leave us? Geology tells us there was no sunken continent in the Atlantic Ocean. Ocean mapping has revealed the seabed in great detail. If a continent-sized Atlantis had existed, we would see its remains. History tells us Plato is the sole source of the story. No other civilization mentioned Atlantis. That silence speaks volumes. Archaeology tells us that real disasters, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, floods, destroyed many cities. Helike, Santorini, Doggerland, Dwarka. Each could have been part of the memory that shaped the Atlantis myth. So the truth is this: Atlantis, as a vast empire, never existed. But Atlantis, as a symbol, is very real. It is the memory of lost lands and fallen cities. It is a reminder of how fragile human civilization is. Atlantis may not have been real, but the story still matters. It asks questions we must face today. What happens when civilizations grow too proud, too greedy, too careless? What happens when we ignore the power of nature? Our world today faces rising seas, melting glaciers, and climate change. Entire cities, Miami, Jakarta, Mumbai, are at risk of flooding. In a way, Atlantis is not just the past. It may be our future. Plato's story, whether allegory or memory, warns us, no civilization is too great to fall. So, buddies, what do you think? Was Atlantis a real city swallowed by the sea, or was it simply a myth, a story meant to teach us a lesson? Comment your thoughts below, because I would love to hear your theories. If this journey into the truth of Atlantis sparked your imagination, hit that like button, share this video with a friend, and subscribe to Echoes of Time for more deep dives into the mysteries of our past, present, and future. The lost city of Atlantis may not exist as Plato described it, but the lesson behind it is eternal. Civilizations rise, civilizations fall, and only wisdom survives.